Good evening and welcome to the Turnip's annual World IP Day livestream. The theme set by WIPO in 2025 is IP and music, and we have a very special guest speaker on the topic of media and IP with us today. So we are doing this World IP Day event every year for the last 5 years. So this is fifth year in a row we are conducting this event. This year again, the live stream is sponsored by Qualcomm and the L2 Pro India, a free e-learning platform for intellectual property rights. I hope you have already checked out the platform, but if not, in addition to our special guest speaker on the topic of IP and music, we have with us Mr. Ram Krishnan, Vice President of Engineering at Qualcomm. He's driving the efforts to promote IPR within academia and startups in India. And he's collaborating with several government organizations like DPIIT, ASSOCHAM, universities, and companies like us to build support for IPR ecosystem development. So before we start today's session, Ram will give you a brief introduction to the L2 Pro India platform. So please welcome on the stage Mr. Ram Krishnan. Ram, thank you for being with us. The stage is yours. We'll be more than happy to hear about the L2 Pro platform.
Great. Thank you, Rahul, for inviting me, and glad to be here and glad to see all the audience here. Yes, as Rahul said, I'm in Qualcomm, and I come from San Diego, so I'm in Delhi at the moment. We have introduced this platform called L2 Pro, which is a free e-learning platform, and it also has a certification, as Rahul has probably mentioned to you before. There is a little bit of information here in this slide about L2 Pro India. It was launched about 5 years ago, and it was actually launched under the auspices of then DPIIT secretary, right? So DPIIT, which is under the Ministry of Commerce in India, had actually asked Qualcomm to support, IP learning for Indian entrepreneurs. So this course is like really targeted at young entrepreneurs who are coming out of college, who are like trying to start their first company, maybe trying to make their idea commercial, right? So that's how we started this program. And you can see the picture there from 2019 where our president was there along with DPIIT secretary Shri Guru Prasad Mahapatra. And currently the government is also kind of engaging with us and also helping us popularize this platform. And we work with Rahul, and we work with many other organizations, also universities, to popularize the L2 Pro platform. As you can see on the right side, as I said, it's a free e-learning for IP awareness. It is mainly intended for inventors to help bring their innovations to market, right? So it talks about like how to do entrepreneurship and how to monetize your patents, right? And it talks about all the different kinds of IPs like patents, copyrights, trademarks, and business considerations and all those things, right? The course has been featured in webinars and in live events in India many times. And you can also see that 14,000 students so far have enrolled in that course, which is a number we are very proud of. But India is a big country, so we are really looking forward to adding more learners to this platform. Okay, so that is about the L2 Pro. And if possible, I'd like to take a few more minutes to talk about the other engagements we have in India. My team and our program is here to enable startups. So we have a startup incubation and startup mentorship program, which started around 2016. Actually, Prime Minister Modi, when he started the Make in India program back in 2016, he requested many companies, including Qualcomm, Google, and Microsoft, to support it by helping entrepreneurs start deep tech startup companies, right? So at that time, we started doing incubation programs, early stage startup incubation programs. Actually, our team does an equity free incubation, meaning like we don't take any equity in the startup, and we also don't take any of the IP. The startup will keep their own IP, right? And we mainly work with early stage startups because we want to help them file for patents, because patents are important when you are trying to protect your revenue stream, and even when you're trying to like get money from a venture capitalist. You have often seen that venture capitalists will ask you, like, if you're an entrepreneur asking for money from a VC, they will ask you like, okay, do you have patent protection, right? So in that vein, we have mentored these startups, and through different programs. We have a semiconductor mentorship program that is going on right now. We actually have a women owned startup mentorship program, which is specifically targeted for some of the smart young women out there who are starting their own companies. And then we have our 100 UCL program, which is the current focus, which is basically again through PM Modi. There was 100 UCL, 100 5G UCL, which is 100 5G use case labs, which were created in different academic institutions all across India, 100 of them. And then we were asked to mentor some of these 100 universities. So we are engaged in that right now. We have selected about 26 of the universities, and we are supporting them their with their ambitions for 5G use cases. And soon we will be doing something for AI and 6G also. So hopefully that is inspiring to all of you. I think you all know about Viksit Bharat, and the current Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, and the Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, are looking for deep tech startups to help with Viksit Bharat as we march towards 6G and AI. So I hope to inspire you with that statement, and hopefully you all will look at entrepreneurship and deep tech startups. Thank you so much, Rahul. Hope that was fine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ram. Really
Right.
appreciate it. And we'll send the L2 Pro links at the end of the webinar. So, yeah, we have the guest now. Ram, thank you very
Perfect.
much. We have our guest for today, and he's Mr. Kinat Sisodia. And let's just begin. He's, as you might know, he's the Director Legal Studios, Film and Music at Zee Entertainment Enterprises. Kinat has over 15 years' post-qualified experience within the media and entertainment sector. His expertise covers the vital legal aspects of content creation, licensing, and protection that we'll be exploring today. So let's welcome Kinat. Welcome to the stream. You are mute at the moment. Yeah, wonderful to
Hi,
have
Rahul.
you. Wonderful to have you. Great.
Same,
Uh, so I think,
same here,
yeah,
same here.
I think we are right on time. Let's. So this started because WIPO gives a theme every year for the World IP Day program, and this year the theme was IP and music. And I was looking on LinkedIn for professionals who have been working in this area, because also we have not really done many webinars on copyright or media entertainment. So really great that you are here and we can shed some light on the topic. So maybe why don't you introduce a bit yourself, what you do, and then we can begin the program.
Well, thank you so much for giving the brief introduction already. I think you have summed it up. I'm not really used to defining or portraying as if I've done some wonders, but the industry that I'm in, people are always amused and mesmerized by the stardom and the glitter that is there. Uh, Briefly put, I am a lawyer in the media space for little over 15, 16 years now. Worked on all aspects on creation of content to making it available across multiple forum, which ranges from your traditional television to radio modes to always experimenting live events to digital spaces, OTT and otherwise. And currently I'm looking after the profiles in relation to films, music and studio productions for the organization that I'm at. But here I am in my individual capacity, so will give as much insight as possible in terms of whatever my learnings have been there.
Yeah, yeah, great. So let's set the stage for the event, like the foundation level. What IP aspects are there in terms of music, live streaming, and OTT? Like nowadays, OTT platforms. So, what are the basic IP concepts that foundational concept people should know?
uh, from a IP understanding, I don't know what the diaspora of audiences we have. I'm presuming people have, if nothing, at least a bare minimum of understanding of the term IP. That's my
Yeah.
presumption. But having said that, from a media space, if you call it music, if you call it OTT, if you call any other uh, media related generation of content, audio visual, otherwise, the bare minimums would be, or the essentials would be trademarks in terms of identifying a content, be it by the name or the title of a film, for example. Additionally, there would be copyrights in terms of protecting how the registrations, how the enforcement happens, how the licensing happens. That's the next part of it. And all of those are largely stitched in forms of some form of contract or the other. These are the three basics that I would say are a minimum in terms of anything that you do on or in relation to these copyright related works.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking. Let's take music for example.
Sure.
Uh, so what happens is like about the ownership first, because music is created by many people. Let's say there's a lyricist, there's a playback singer, and then there's a producer or many different people who are the music
Sure.
composer. So who owns the IP and how does the ownership work in case of music?
Uh, so the breakdown on music is, for that matter, for any property that is there. If I have to give a simpliciter example onto it, if I was writing a book, the
Hmm.
way the law functions is I am the author of the book, which I believe everybody would understand. The ownership of, from the first instance, the ownership as an author would remain with me, but then the permutations, combinations would vary if somebody has actually uh, commissioned me to write that book. It's not something that I have voluntarily started writing from day one. So while I'll get the credits and the entitlement as an author, but the ownership would vest with somebody else. The same logic, why I'm giving that analogy is because music works similar. uh, the creation of music, while you have said it right, yes, there is a music composer, there is a lyricist, there's a singer. These are again in the similar bucket as that of an author. There is an author vis-a-vis literary works, that is the lyrics of the song, who somebody would be writing. Say Mr. Akhtar has written the lyrics. Say the composition is done by Pritam, stitched together as a sound recording, which is a combination of the lyrics, the musical work, the singer's performance, all of that together. But then at the end of the day, at some point in time, somebody would have either commissioned it or purchased it. So the ownership, because of that relationship, ends up being with somebody else, but it still ends up protecting the rights of the author in certain manners, in certain details, as are listed down in the Copyright Act.
Right. Right. And how does it work with the royalties and the monetization? So if I create and stream my music, say on various music apps, then who
Hmm.
like how do I earn from music and copyright?
So if it is your music, a couple of options that I can think of in the example that you're giving. If it is your music to begin with, you have completely from scratch created it, you own everything to it, then the relationship that you'll have with the platforms wherever you are putting it up, say a YouTube or a Spotify or something else, you would directly have that relationship to earn directly from those platforms. This is a
Mhm,
very simple setup or a stance where you own it, you are the single person who has written it, composed it, and everything. So you are one person who has done everything onto it. So it's a very simple example, but mostly that's not how music functions. There are multiple players,
mhm,
there are multiple people, lyricist, composer, singer. More often than not are not the same person. So then there are three buckets there, and there is an owner. So owner would then decide that, okay, either I have commissioned Rahul to write the lyrics, Kinat to say compose the music. I'm bad at music, but still giving the example. And then the producer, the person who's the owner, who's going to be giving these commissioning works, would pay either upfront, so that you get paid as an author or as a music creating person. You get your payouts or your royalties upfront, and the platform related payouts are dealt with by the owner. The law protects two parts to it, which is what I was trying to refer in the first bit also. A, the author will always be entitled to continue with their ownership credits in the work, while the owner would be somebody else. If the lyrics have been written by Mr. Akhtar, that title cannot be taken away. He will always be mentioned and referred to as the author, which does two
mhm,
things: one, identification, and two, the underlying royalties that are generated, which is not the upfront payout, but the back end collection that are done by the societies like your IPRS and others. Those will go back to the author as per the law. That's not something that comes upfront. That's the only difference.
mhm. All right. And how does enforcement work? For example, how do you detect, for example, if your music is being used in an unauthorized way? For example, say in a restaurant, or somebody's playing it in a big concert, without your permission, or somebody is playing internationally. So, how does enforcement work? And what are the techniques to do to enforce copyright?
So the mechanism is the same whether it is music or film. It boils down in terms of piracy in some form or action. A film piracy, the way we look at it, is where a film is being leaked from the theaters, for example, from
Mhm,
any other uh, production arm or somebody who's working on the film project of sorts. That has happened many times, and people end up putting in investigative or monitoring agencies to look into these aspects and then take appropriate actions onto it. In fact, a lot of your digital piracy that happens for films, for example,
mhm,
is triggered way well in advance before the film is actually made available to public, so that all those mechanisms are well in place before anything adverse of the sorts happens. And that's a huge hit to the theatrical release of the film. So those things are already pegged in. The
mhm,
long drawn exploitation in terms of music, however, is a slightly different game. It's not different, it's slightly different. uh,
mhm,
it's not largely different, it's slightly different because it's a continuing process as opposed to theatrical runs where you're looking at, say, a couple of weeks to 2 months of sorts. Music, you have to keep monitoring on an ongoing basis, because anybody can think that, oh, I'm just taking the song which is created by somebody, I am putting it on my channel, so what's the harm? Or I'm
mhm,
singing it without taking a license. So those things are again monitored multiple tools, multiple service partners, multiple agencies are there for different kind of bits. So there are digital monitoring tools that are there, and for live events and other pieces there are service partners who keep a tab on such pieces, who keep a licensing mechanism very well oiled. The
Mhm.
regular event organizations always come back and take for licenses so that such an eventuality doesn't happen and nobody is at a harm. But it's
Mhm.
a long drawn process.
Yeah. So let's, if we take an example, like if a restaurant is playing some popular music for its patrons,
Yes.
so it's infringement,
Yes.
I think. And so how is it detected? I mean, how would you go to all the restaurants and have a tab?
So there are agencies that are there who deal with this kind of a stuff. And that's precisely for the reason that it is not practically feasible for somebody to monitor each and every such instance. And largely in our jurisdiction, in our country, the problem is that everybody thinks that if it is available on Google, it
Hmm.
is for free, it is public domain. That's sadly not the reality.
Hmm.
While things are available on YouTube also doesn't mean that everything is an entitlement to be used out of context or in any manner of sorts. So
Hmm.
there are agencies who assist in going down to these ground level setups, be it
Hmm.
restaurants, hotels, or event venues, and verifying if the licenses are in place. If they are not, then the conversations are started.
Hmm. Right. Right. So at this stage, I'll request the audience, if you have any questions, it's a great time. Please add your questions in the chat, and selectively we are going to take those questions. So before that, I mean, I have some few questions. Let's warm up
Sure.
with those questions, and I'm sure the audience will have also like a lot of questions. Just like on infringement, I've heard,
Hmm.
actually, if you know, there are some patents also in the field where it monitors. They put some kind of a watermark on the streaming video. Suppose Netflix is having a show, it is being streamed on Netflix, but it has a watermark. So if I were to somehow record it and publish copies of it, there are some patents where
Hmm.
they flag it. Do you know about any this kind of IP that is there?
So there are under the law itself, there is a thing called DRM, digital rights management tools that have to be enforced so that you can protect your uh, whatever the IP that you're looking at, be it music, be it audiovisual. It, I mean, watermark, as you're saying, is a very simple way to put it. But then the idea is to be able to identify where the breach actually happened more than anything else.
Mm,
So earlier,
mm,
the watermarking piece used to happen, and in fact, for a very long time, it used to work even in your set-top boxes on Tata Sky and the others, where a certain particular number would keep flashing on your screen in some random corner. So
yeah.
if a piracy was happening through that box, the people, the agencies would be able to identify, okay, this happened from this locality via this set-top box number. Though
Mm,
those things have now via technology, because not everything is on hardware boxes, so to speak. Everything is now connected to the user account and the app that they are using. So those
mhm,
things are there. Yes, conceptually it is still a watermark, but it's a little more
mhm,
technical of sorts, and it's done on a platform level, it's done on an app level, it's done on a web level. But yes, definitely it is done.
mhm. Yeah. And what about the rights? Suppose if somebody copies my music, what are the things I could do? For example, if somebody abroad copies my music, and also there are many cases where Indian music composers have copied some tunes from songs abroad, and then they are published as Bollywood songs. So does it have consequences, or can it be pulled off?
Yeah. So definitely it has consequences. It comes down from the simple point. If the usage is of a nature that it is identifiable. If it is something that is really lifting or copying from the original or not, that's the first element. If you are able to establish that the work that I was looking at, the first work, the original work that I was referring to, if it was original and protected by copyright, and I know that the other person has copied or taken up from my work, the the right way to approach is, yes, you go to go reach out to those people, initiate a conversation, and tell them to regularize the rights. Point it out to them that these are the spots where the infringement has really happened, and
Mhm.
you're willing to regularize it for them on the nature of the the usage that they have done. You are willing to give them the license to cover and regularize it. If they agree and if everything falls in place, great. You don't have to chase them down in terms of having a long drawn litigation around it. But many a times those fringe elements also happen where things don't go down in a similar manner, because you're talking cross jurisdictions. The way I look at an infringement, they don't think it's really an infringement, and so on.
Hmm.
So then it goes towards notices and litigation and whatnot.
Mhm. Let's also, nowadays it's very popular that some popular music is being
Yeah.
used in shorts and reels. So people actually go and look at what are the most popular uh, music videos on YouTube, and then they choose them to create shorts and reels. So what are the consequences of that? When can I do it and when can I not do it?
Uh, this is a good question, Rahul. It's a very largely confused in areas. Let me put it this way: all these platforms, uh, be it your YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, ShareChat, Josh. I mean, you pick up anything which is now giving you short format content. All of
Mm-hmm.
these have a larger understanding with content providers, be it music video, or otherwise, which is
Mm-hmm.
how they are able to make the content available for the users. What that
Mm-hmm.
basically means is, if you are trying to create a Instagram short, while you are recording that video, you want to attach a particular music audio to it. That audio,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to go search around and take a pirated version of it. You will have access to the library on the app itself. That is because the labels would have granted those permissions to such a platform.
Hmm.
The 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 flip side to it is that all these platforms, while they are granted the rights are granted to use only on a non-commercial individual usage only. So that's for individuals, not for brands. In fact, the couple of litigations right now going on exactly on this particular aspect.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Uh, so, uh, are there any career opportunities? Like, can you share with the audience a little bit? So, in terms of, say, music, films, what are the kinds of work that there is in the industry, and what are the tracks suppose students can take in their legal careers?
Yes, of course there are there are opportunities. It's an industry which provides opportunities to a whole lot of people, and it's both ways. I have personally seen people coming in from a non-legal background and liking the way the legalese works around it, to become uh, more inclined towards the legal connect to it. And I've seen
Mm-hmm.
people who come from a legal background move, because of the legal understanding, move towards a business legal or a commercial legal role as well.
Mm-hmm.
Variety of things take place. For example, if you look at it production wise, uh, there are a lot of firms, legal firms, so to speak, which assist production houses, which assist talent management agencies, which assist music labels, which assist platforms in terms of their day-to-day contract requirements. That's the plain vanilla piece, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
because it would range from anything to everything. If you're mounting up a project, you would need contracts to be in place for your set creator to your engineer to your uh, bigger roles like a writer, director, actor. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there are other venues in terms of platform specific where you're looking at evaluating uh, the kind of content that you're working on. So if you want to talk about certain real life aspects, for example, as a part of your film or TV show, will that be something that will actually pick up certain sentimental issues for people? Will that be something that might create any repercussions or not? That also, on the face of it, somebody can say that what is legal to it, but then there are instances that you can actually flag off and say this is too harsh and this might not be compliant with the laws, so let's not do that. So how
Mm-hmm.
do you get those rights? How do you it's not something that people are talking and making biographies, for example, without taking rights in the first place. So you have to do that entire background check, flow of rights. That work is also done by people. Then there are people who are managing talent. I mean, as fancy as it sounds, you're managing artists in terms of their uh, endorsements, in terms of their services. There are people who work closely with the artists and close and lock their agreements for this. So there are different channels to work on. But bottom line, if somebody has to go and associate in terms of legal side of media, I think the first
Mm-hmm.
step would be to get your uh, contract understanding in place, and everything else is something that evolves over a period of time in terms of how a particular business or a particular person or a personality that you're working with,
Mm-hmm.
your approaches change. But yes, definitely a lot of opportunities for people who want to work
Mm-hmm.
around that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll ask the question since nobody has asked in the chat. So the big
Sure.
question on AI. So, for example, if music is generated using AI, then
Yeah.
what are the consequences? I mean, do the does the creator have any rights if they have created with AI, and when do they have rights, if any?
So there are two parts to this that I would want to address. One, if on the face of it, if I have to address the way our India side of law, and largely globally, the law is such, but there are different judgments coming. So I'll deal with the judgments part subsequently. But on the face of it, if I have to tell you the way the law functions, is IP is a result of somebody's creativity, which comes by burning midnight oil, by the use of their sweat and brow. That was one of the doctrines in one of the earlier cases also, which which culminates in the way the IP is defined by something that is created by the intellect of an individual person.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, simply put, it has to be done by a human. It has to be done by a living person. For the longest of time, I'm sure you would have heard that there was a long-standing back and forth going on the monkey selfie case. In one of the, I think it was a zoo location or something, where a person had set up his camera in a manner that a monkey came in and clicked the picture. And then there was
Mm-hmm.
a dispute whether the ownership of the copyright for such selfie would be with the monkey or with the person. And it kept going back and forth. And it was looked upon that ultimately, and one side of the argument was that it has to go back to the person because he set the entire thing up. But then the law
Mm-hmm.
says the person who clicks the picture is the owner. Now, the clicking was not done by the monkey. So it goes in a loop. There are multiple
Mm-hmm.
arguments. I'll not go into the details of it. The simple way people are looking at, very simple way and very off top of the surface, is that the law currently does not provide that AI can be the owner of the copyright. That's part one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there are jurisdictions where they are looking at it slightly different to say it is similar to a tool. Today, if a writer has to write, they are not writing on pen and paper, they are using Microsoft Word, they are using online word editors. So this is
Mm-hmm.
similar to that. This is a tool. At the end of the day, even if an AI is generating it, it is a result of somebody's prompt to it. It's then they end up putting it to the point that how much of it was really the result of their inputs, how
Hmm.
much of that can be differentiated from the reliance of AI on the database that it has trained upon. So it goes into those nitty gritties. And there are simultaneously, there are multiple cases already ongoing where copyright owners, music labels are fighting it out, saying that at the end of the day, AI is training on our existing copyrighted music. So whatever
Hmm.
is coming as a result thereof is an
Hmm.
infringement upon our rights. So those are arguments. Uh, but we are too early in this stage. We are too from the laws that we have currently. We are away in terms of the technology that is going on fast and abroad. We still have to see which way finally the law settles.
Yeah. Yeah. And judgments, you were talking about judgments. Any judgments have come which maybe this will be a precedent for the future?
So one thing from an India scenario that I would want to, it's less AI, but it's still trying to touch upon a subject, which is where people have tried mimicking and using the voice of certain singers and actors, uh, sort of adapting from there, which was not taken in a light manner by these celebrities, and they have gone to the courts. Arijit
Hmm.
Singh being one, Mr. Bachchan being another, Mr. Anil Kapoor being another. They have gone ahead and protected their rights as being personalities to say you cannot use my voice or my mannerisms to create anything else without taking my license. So even if you are
Hmm.
trying to say reword an AI bit of a software to
Hmm.
change or mimic my voice into something else. If I'm talking to you right now and there's a tool that you want to
Yeah.
use AI wise, and people on the YouTube feed think that this is not me, but say Mr. Bachchan sitting and talking, that's unauthorized use. While the tool
Yeah.
might be allowing it, but then he hasn't licensed those permissions. So
Yeah.
it's there. Those cases are very much there. It
Yeah.
boils down
And
from the
this,
same principles that we have.
yeah, Scarlett Johansson had a similar issue with ChatGPT. They mimicked
Absolutely
her voice in their audio, um,
correct.
audio output.
Yeah.
So any other pertinent judgments are there related to music? Let's say, if we are sticking to music.
Uh, there are. I mean, it's not concluded. Bigger music labels, the US side, the developed country side of it, Sony, Universal, BMG, others have taken up this fight against these AI softwares and tools which
Hmm.
help in generating and creating sound recording from scratch. You just have to give
Hmm.
a input. I want, say, a certain kind or a genre of lyrics. I want it to be a romantic song. I want it to be fast paced dance number, etc., etc., and it will develop the entire thing as per your feedback. But what these
Hmm.
music labels are fighting and agitating on this is that all said and done, you are training the software, you're training your AI tool on our existing music. there
Yeah.
is there is definitely a sampling, there is definitely a learning that is happening. While I cannot
Hmm.
pinpoint and say which particular song of mine your tool has relied upon, but it has learned from there without authorization. And in the
Hmm.
process, it is affecting my ownership. In the process, it is affecting the ability of individual creators to come up with newer things. And that's a fight.
Hmm.
It's not something that is concluded, but it's a
Not
fight that is
concluded.
ongoing. Yes.
Hmm.
And there are
Yeah.
multiple
Yeah. So
such cases.
yeah, even in books, a lot of book authors have
Yes.
sued
Yes.
the AI companies. So even I
Yes.
imagine those are not concluded. Probably there will be some payout and settlement because now it's AI is so
Yeah.
mainstream that we are already. I mean, every time we are infringing basically. So it's not like they are saying you cannot offer your AI services to the public.
Yes.
It's
So
not
so
like a
we
cease and
haven't
desist.
no, we haven't. But the point is, see, my personal view on this is it's too early. As a change that it is bringing to the table, everybody has a first reaction to be uh, very scared of a change. So while
Hmm.
AI is not something that has come suddenly in our lives. It has been there in some form of fashion. It's just that we have started referring to it, and we have started feeling the changes more now, because now it's literally at the tip of your hand.
Mhm.
But it has helped us, and it might settle down eventually. It's not something for initially when it came in, people were like, oh, now robots are going to take over, we won't have jobs, we will all get doomed. It's like Terminator happening all over. None of that has happened. It's
Yeah.
just it's helping people. It's a matter of time when people will actually settle down. It's just that the governments, the laws have to uh, be more accommodative in that sense, and then I think we'll have a clear picture. Otherwise, we'll have these one-off instances where some court is saying something in a certain jurisdiction where they
Mhm.
are developed, but then the same way
Mhm.
it might not apply for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of things. Can you say a little bit about copyright societies? I was actually doing a copyright course at Turnip. We are launching it, so I'm reviewing the course and everything. So I came across this for the first time. What is copyright societies, and in music, what are the copyright societies, and what's like the benefit for, let's say, musicians, to associate with them or not?
So it stems from the earlier conversation that we were having. So there are authors, uh, your lyricists, your writers, your music composers, individuals who would be creating something, and then
Mm-hmm.
there are owners who would have taken their services to create something. What the law provides for is that there are different classes of works. There will be a literary
Mm-hmm.
work, which is in terms of something that is written. There'll be musical work, which could be in terms of your musical composition, and there are categories like that. The the act provides that there can be societies which can deal in the business of a particular category of work and issuing licenses in relation to that.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if there are literary works, let's say lyricists and music composers who are looking at their rights, their works to be monetized, and they getting the royalty benefit to it, the society can do it. Same logic, an
Mm-hmm.
individual cannot run behind. So if it is uh, say Mr. Akhtar, he has written hundreds of songs. He cannot realistically in his personal capacity keep running around, okay, which television channel has used my song lyrics, which Netflix or Amazon platform has used my lyrics, which hotel or restaurant has used the song which contains my lyrics. It becomes too cumbersome. So
Mm-hmm.
it gives him a benefit to, rather than individually running around and getting those deals, be a part of the society, where the society will do all of these runarounds, ensure that wherever his work or his work related utilization has happened, they get his share of the royalty collected and pass it on to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the simplest way to look at how societies work. And there are supposed to be multiple uh, societies, but then for one class of work, there has to be one. In case of
Mm-hmm.
music, uh, there has to be a society for underlying works, which is your literary works and musical works. So there is a society called IPRS for that. There has to be one society in terms of sound recording, which is the final audio work. There is a society for that as well. That's the two works. I mean, the two societies in terms of the music part that you're referring to. Then there are other agencies and licenses who also go into it, but that's a different conversation.
Mm. Right. And suppose if I want to license, suppose I actually played a webinar, and
Hmm.
I had to show my audience a clip from Shark Tank. It was a YouTube clip, but it was obviously
Okay.
belonging to the to Sony, and
Yeah.
then I got a copyright strike because I showed that clip to my audience.
Yes.
So suppose
Yeah.
I want to do it in a right way. How do I go and take permission, or what should I pay, for example, for that, taking that clip, or in maybe a maybe a piece of music?
So giving a specific number or a commercial to the usage is not something that I can give a offhand response. But to the larger question, how do you go about it? The first way to go about it is obviously identifying who is the owner of the original piece of work or where the clip is writing, you first identify the real owner of it. See, the problem with YouTube is that there are multiple people who would be putting in the same thing. While you are right to
Mhm.
identify the fact in this example, Shark Tank was put up on Sony or Sony Live's YouTube channel for that matter. There might be multiple individual users who might have also reposted it some part, clipped in some form
Mhm.
or manner. So obviously, the
Mhm.
first step is to identify who's the real owner. That's a little tough because unlike your trademark or patent repositories, copyright doesn't have a single form of a repository for you to identify and ascertain who's the owner. But that's
Mhm.
number one. Once you have done, you obviously connect with them, tell them your exact usage, what's the duration of your usage, what's the intent of your usage. If, for example, if you're looking at it for Turn IP and it's more in terms of educational side of it and not really monetizing per se, then your conversation can obviously trickle and say that I don't intend to monetize on top of it, and instead of
Mhm.
charging me for it, why don't you become an associate in some form? I'll give you credits and things like that. So obviously you can
Mhm.
divert the conversation rather than facing suddenly a situation where you're getting a copyright strike. But that's the
Mhm.
way you have to go about it.
Yeah.
Same applies
Yeah.
for audio also.
Yeah, we have a question. Let's see, Dr. Swati. What?
Yes.
So many TV serials use songs from movies. What kind of permissions are required for this?
uh, Thanks, Dr. Swati, for that. Though there are, I'm going to answer both sides of the question on this. So one is there are songs which are used in terms of the earlier original song as such. What I mean by that is, let's say there was an original song of, say, a 1970s film, and the movie wants to TV serials are using the song. So like 1970s film song or a song video is now being shown in a TV serial. Let's say the TV serial protagonist is trying to watch TV within the show or watching something on a phone when the music video is playing. That's one kind of a license that you're looking at. It's similar to what Rahul you just asked, in terms of using a clip. Could be an audio clip, could be an audio visual clip. It's a sync license is what it is referred to as. You are synchronizing the earlier existing copyrighted material as a part of your new work. That's one usage. The other usage that can happen is when you are taking up only uh, say a literary work out of the old song or a musical tune out of an old song. Many a times now you would see old songs, their titles have now been converted into a theme music for a new TV show, or it has been used as only a instrumental as a part of the TV show, and people are just dancing onto it. Same way, it's just that in this particular instance, instead of the overall audio uh, sound recording audio sync, you are doing an underlying literary work sync or an underlying musical work sync. That's the difference. But these are the permissions that again you have to go back to the original owner and take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell the audience, remind them that this is the last 10 or so minutes you have to use Kinat's time. Make sure you make use of his time. If he gives you 1 hour separately, that would cost you a lot. So this is the time. Last 10 minutes, please use his time and ask your questions. So I have one question. Okay, let's see.
Sure,
Uh, let's see. It's a bit general. Let's first give the audience a chance. Uh, Archana,
sure. Archana.
does
Yeah.
remix song also face copyright issue?
Yes, it does. So the idea on that is the owner of the copyright owns all rights to deal with or work on the original work. So if it is a slow paced song of sorts and you want to remix it to a more peppy dance number, the rights for that are with the owner only. You cannot create a remix of it. People and there is I'll take the side also on this. There is something called a cover version. You have the original song, let's say, sung by a male singer, and there is a female individual user that wants to create a cover of the same song in a obviously in a female voice. While the law is there in terms of cover version, which is obviously slightly dated, it had a particular usage of sorts, but people let it uh, be in terms of visibility and promotion of their original song. So if it is a, say, a Sony music song and you are trying to create a female version of that song which did not exist, just because you are able to do it at an individual level does not mean that it is not an infringement. It's just that uh, the music label may choose not to run behind you or put a copyright strike because they might think that okay, it's still publicity for them. They can still come back if at any point in time they realize that you are actually using the original song way too much than they intended to in the first place. So yeah, remix song, cover versions, all of those are also breaching upon the copyright of the owners.
Mhm. Great. Dr.
I
Annamitra
think
Roy
Dr. Annamit,
is there.
yeah.
Yeah, many Bengali television shows use songs written by Rabindranath Tagore. Vishwa Bharati University repeatedly objects this. Can they do anything legally regarding this?
So it's a good question. The question, the counter clarity that I would want to reach out on this is, to my mind, everything that Rabindranath Tagore would have written would be more than 60, 70 years now.
Hmm.
If that is the case, uh, it's more of a cultural disconnect than the ownership. See, the simple answer to this is very this. If the person who wrote the original literary work has passed away and a period of 60 years has also lapsed after that, then there is no copyright protection. Then it goes into the public domain. So the thumb rule to
Hmm.
figure this out is the particular work that we are referring to from Rabindranath Tagore, when was that published, and has that passed the 60 years test post Rabindranath Tagore's passing away? If that is the case, then this is more of a situation where people are not happy with the result, but then they're just trying to agitate it. It's something similar. In fact, uh, if I can just try giving a counter response to this, Sherlock Holmes, the stories of Sherlock Holmes, which were written by Arthur Conan Doyle, were of the 1800s sometime, and they also used the protection of the Copyright Act under the UK to take the same stance that this is written by this Arthur Conan Doyle, and now the legal heirs of Mr. Doyle are still protecting it, and they kept agitating on that in post the uh, post the expiry of 60 years, 70 years that was there in the bit. In fact, they fought it out even for one of the uh, Netflix series where they created one new character to be as a part of the Sherlock universe. Did not come out in
Hmm.
their favor, but those things are still taken up basis the time when it has gone into the public domain. So 60, 70 years is the term that you'll have to figure out.
Hmm. Yeah, this public domain makes me also wonder, are there any
Yeah.
repositories where I can get this kind of music? Suppose I want to use it for free. Can I go somewhere and check out? Like, you have this Creative Commons licenses for software. You can, download so much free software. Is there such a thing for music?
No, it's not there. It's not an easy space. So very recently, in fact, I was having a conversation with some colleagues also, and when I told them that "Happy Birthday to You," the song that we sing very gladly and lovingly, was also not there as a copyright free song for very recently. It was protected in terms of ownership. So it's a very in fact globally, it's not just India. We don't have a repository as such. It's just that on a case to case basis we have to go and identify for songs or films or literary works if they have actually fallen into the public domain space.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think Annamitra Roy, he's saying they are 100 years old. Yeah, I think so. I just
Then
checked quickly the
yeah,
date of death of Rabindranath Tagore, 1941. So I think 70 or 80 years have
then it's
passed.
more of a, yeah, it's more of a culture fight, because obviously the portrayal that the shows would be showing in terms of the current way the content is created might not be something that uh, the local culture would be looking or be happy with. That's the thing that is putting it in. It's more being a cultural fight than a copyright fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay, there is one question
There is an
by
yeah.
Asadullah. How does fair use impact music copyright claims?
Uh, so this is a term that is more US oriented than India, where the fair use is permitted. Uh, the terminology, I'm getting a little technical, bear with me, but the terminology in India scenario is fair dealing, which basically means certain exceptions where usage would not amount to infringement. Broadly put, one is obviously for educational usage, uh, in terms of a criticism or a review. Now, while the law clearly says criticism or review, how do you look at it is a bigger piece. Like a lot of people, when in the name of review, a lot of people do this review a content, and then let's say they're putting up a review video on YouTube for say 10 minutes. Say 9 minutes of those review video is just the original video playing. The start and the end, 30 seconds, they will say, okay, I'm going to watch this, and in the end, they'll say, I liked it or not liked it. That's not really a review in that sense, and it can be questioned by the copyright owner because you are piggybacking on the original work. That's
Mhm.
the basis on the fair use. The idea is that the use has to be of a nature where you are not depriving the original owner of his hard work. You are not making money to their detriment. You are not using or portraying it in a manner that it puts the original work in a weird position. That's it. So it does affect on the music copyright piece as well, because people think that they can. There is a misconception that a certain durational usage is something that can be done. No, that's not the case.
Mhm.
It's on a
Mhm.
case to case basis. In a 10-minute video, even a 3-second matters. In a 3-hour video, maybe it doesn't. It really depends on what your usage is, how much of a reliance you are going to put up on this fair use that you're looking at. So I think it flows from there, and case to case it evolves. It's not a straight up thing that can be answered, because the courts have taken different stances in different scenarios. A couple of cases are there.
Mhm. Yeah, let's say Dr. Tara. She
Doc-
says the record label companies generally have an upper hand with regard to the rights of the musicians or artists. How can their rights be protected? And she asks a follow up question, like especially when the artist is a newcomer.
Uh, so I think this is addressed by the change in the law that took place in 2012. Uh, what used to be the understanding of people largely was the fact that because the music label companies are uh, bigger corporations of sorts, they are not going to pay you. They're going to charge you a bomb, and they're going to take away all your hard-earned incomes. uh, 2012, when the Copyright Act was amended, was a fight for several years, exactly trying to cover up this particular instance. That the music label, the production company, cannot deprive the uh, musicians or artists, for that matter, in terms of their entitlement to continue making money or a royalty from each exploitation. Number one. Number two, they will always be referred to with their credits and association with the work. So now it doesn't really happen. It's not something that anybody can bypass it and say, take it or leave it. What they are doing is commercially, contractually agreeing with each and every newcomer or an existing artist to say, for the nature of services, I'm going to give you A, B, and C. While that might be limited, while that may be more or less depending on each person, but if the work that they have delivered is making money over a period of time, they will keep getting their royalties. So that's how their rights, that's how their right to receive royalty, that's how their right to be identified as author is protected under the new act.
Mhm. Great, great. We are almost out of time, but since 1 minute is remaining, I just remembered one question I had.
Yes, please.
So it's about the acoustic covers. So on YouTube, we see a lot of acoustic covers of of popular songs, or songs which are very famous. So some musician will just take their guitar, they will just sing that song, and call it
Hmm.
an acoustic cover. So
Yeah.
is that permitted, and what rights does the new creator has in this scenario?
Same conversation that I was trying to respond to the earlier question in terms of remixes and cover versions. Uh, it still is a cover version.
Hmm.
You can choose to say the original song was on guitar and you are now trying to recreate the same thing on a different instrument. You're trying to sing the same tune without an instrument. There can be multiple permutations or combinations, not limited to acoustic. It's still your
Hmm.
rendition of the same version, but again it
Hmm.
germinates from the rights of the owner. Have you taken the license? The answer is no.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know it all sounds like it's just too complicated for people to function. That's not
Hmm.
where it is. I'm just telling you what and how the law functions.
Law
It's not
functions. Yeah.
as if, yeah, it's not as if because of the law people are not able to uh, create such versions. People are not able to exercise their rights. It's just that this is how the law exists. It is purely from the perspective of the owner. If they want to chase down, if they want to take an action on somebody which they realize is actually a threat to their original work or is undermining their original work or their ability to monetize the same, they can. If they
Hmm.
don't, doesn't mean that that right they don't have. It's on a case to case basis. Some people choose to come after cover versions because they are trying to put uh, a a dent to their original work. The original work, for example, the musical composition was a clean song, and suddenly somebody has created a version which a lot of expletives in between, and the music label and the authors are not happy with it. They will take stringent actions to
Hmm.
it. It's as simple as that. So they may pick and choose. It's a very business driven sense to come after it. Do they really want to spend that much of time, energy, and attention to it?
Yeah.
Case to case, but the law provides them the ability to do so.
Right, right, right. It's important that if it's worth it to fight a case, uh,
Yes,
yeah, when the stakes should be high enough.
absolutely.
Wonderful. Great. Lot of comments. A lot of comments saying thank you. Thank you for the answer. Thank you for the session. Shruti Lad, Arvind, Sampath, Surajit. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you very much to Kinat for this valuable session. It's kind of a practitioner, view that people crave. The academicians, because many of people here, they might have done a copyright course. I recently did a course, and I saw a lot of fair use, a lot of these terms in an academic way. But it's refreshing when when you talk about it and relate it to everyday things that is happening. Wonderful. Thank you for the audience. Already more than 50 people still are in the are viewing us live.
Yeah.
Uh, please, you will get the certificate emails. I know some people are there because they want certificate. So make sure your emails are verified, because if you are not verified, then we will not be issuing you. The system will not give you a certificate. So please make sure you verify and then fill the feedback form post the event, and you will get the certificate. So thank you, Kinat. Really, really appreciate your
Thank you so
time,
much for
and
having me.
more than happy that we are connected, and happy to
Yes.
plan something else in the future. So
Happy, more
great.
than happy to be a part of it again. All
Thank you
right.
so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening to everybody, and bye bye.
Bye bye.